For joining us, and welcome to the Everest and Kyber Virtual AMA. My name is Watson from the Kyber team, and today we will be hosting two guests here. First is Bob Reid, who is the co-founder and CEO of Everest. And then we have Shane Hong, the head of marketing for Kyber Network. Bob and Shane will be introducing themselves right now. Hi, guys.
So I'm Bob, CEO, co-founder of Everest. Previously, I was with Kai Labs, which was an incubator and an accelerator in Singapore with Vitalik, Virgil, Aya from Ethereum, which is sort of what got me more into the Ethereum community. And prior to that, I was general manager of BitTorrent, which, if you know BT, basically the precursor and inventor of peer-to-peer. Shane?
Hi.
Are very, you have been a very long, you've been here a very long time.
I've been doing a lot of this for a while. I can tell you 2012 and 13 at BT, we were looking at how do we do storage? And after we do storage, can we do CPU? If then statements. And Silicon Valley VCs didn't think that was a good idea at the time. Whoops.
Hi everyone. My experience is not as varied as Bob, but I've been in. My name is Shane from the Kyber team. I've been in the space for about 4 years now. So I lead all the marketing efforts at Kyber Network, and very happy to be here and to discuss more about Everest and Kyber and share some of our upcoming updates with everyone. So just a little quick note about what Kyber does. We are an on-chain liquidity protocol that allows any debt or end user to access liquidity for their trading, for their lending, DeFi needs. On to you, Watson.
Thank you, Shane. So we can start off with the AMA questions now. Let me just say that we have two parts in this AMA. The first part, I will be asking some questions for Bob and Shane. And the second part, we will ask the community two questions and then pick up lucky winners to win some prizes. So let's start with, firstly, a question for Bob. What is the mission of Everest and how is it different from others in the market?
Good question. Thanks for asking. Everest is what we call in Silicon Valley a moonshot. That is, we are aiming to literally transform not just economics, but all society. Economic, political, cultural, everything. The best way to explain this is, let me show you a slide or two. We were modeled after the Estonian nation or the Indian nation, where you have to have 4 components to actually run any community, any government, any bank. Which is you have to have identity, wallet, a ledger, and some currency. And so, if you have those, you can do, like I said, anything in society. So we started with identity. We do government docs, biometrics, third-party claims, and KYC. And we put that into a DAO, which is not even Everest can actually open the identity, okay? That identity is attached to an account, like an ERC20 wallet that also has storage. So think of it as distributed storage and a wallet in the cloud. And in this case, the biometrics, like your face, work as the PIN to open up that account, and only the user can open it up. We are also a licensed stablecoin provider. So if you know of Paxos, for example, we're like that in that case, right? We're regulated, we can take deposits, we can issue instructions and process orders. We also make organizational identities and wallets so that any participant in an economy or society can go, are you who you say you are? Okay, now that I know who, I've asked the bare minimum verification of you are who you say you are, now we can transact across Everchain, which is a ledger. And that ledger is really fast, like 300,000 transactions per second fast. And then ultimately, we built a bridge out to Ethereum mainnet, and we have a few others that are coming. And so with that whole loop platform, if you will, we're able to process not just in, out, we're actually able to do almost anything in a society, right? As I put it, everyone that's doing a wallet now is, what they're really talking about is my real wallet, by the way, right? When they say digital wallet, it's like they're really meaning one loop. And what this does, this platform, is it's literally the whole thing, like my identity card, all of my different loops, my money, my receipts, my insurance, my everything. That's what this does. Right? And so if you were to look at it in the blockchain world, it's on the left, you have to have a whole stack, identity and a L2 ledger and fiat onboarding and custody and a stablecoin and remittance, all of it. We just basically put it all into one platform where, again, the identity is user owned and you can process everything super fast, super cheap, and it's still crypto and fiat at the same time. So that's a moonshot.
Bob, that sounds like you have a whole system which is very to use for the common people to go and use the blockchain and do everything there. That sounds very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me move on to the second question, which I will be asking you both Bob and Shane. So what are the key drivers to make the DeFi mass market with hundreds of millions of users? Bob, can you answer that first?
Sure. So look, there are four major hurdles I think we all jointly in our partnership with Kyber are solving, right? You've got cost, speed, compliance, and reach, right? The cost has to get down to a fraction of a penny to actually do a transaction. Speed has to be a couple of seconds. Compliance, in this system, somebody has to actually be compliant with the regulatory community, right? And reach, it has to get to the hundreds of millions or billion people. Shane, what do you think?
Oh, we have done a couple of surveys in the DeFi and the crypto community before. Personally, based on some of the research we've done, I think there have been a lot of hacks and vulnerabilities that are exposed over the past few years in crypto, and this kind of puts off a lot of newcomers into the space. They always cite the negative aspects of the crypto and the blockchain space as something that is preventing them from coming in and learning more and actually investing their hard-earned money into. So I think definitely security is of like utmost importance when it comes to reaching the masses. And one way, a couple of ways that projects can approach this. One is definitely have smart contract audits and to show the community and assuage their fears through the fact that their product or their blockchain or the protocol is heavily audited. And I think this is something that Everest will definitely do. And you guys will be sharing more of that later on. And the second thing is to ensure, if possible, the product that is used by millions of users out there. So I think with proper security, smart contract audits and operational security audits, as well as in an insured product, and I think both of these approaches would help to get more people into the space.
I agree. I mean, for what it's worth, like we've had pen tests done, finishing SOC 2 audit as a regulated custodian, like you can't lose $1 of a user's money ever, ever. I mean, like you're a bank, and that's ever. So like we had to. The other thing we're finding is, I mean, look, in theory, there's 100+ million wallets out there. There's about 1 million of those are doing DeFi, at least directly. That's not mass market. Telling my mom that smart contract audits are important, it's going to go over her head. Like, won't matter. And so what I can tell you, like, we're literally going like, we're not selling DeFi. We're selling, here's fiat to yield. Take your euros or your dollars, and we'll go get you 1% yield per month. They don't even know that it's Kyber on the backside, right? It's just like, oh, great, here's $1,000, go get me my yield, and it comes back, and it'll literally be blind to them.
Yeah, I really like how Everest is approaching it as a full stack thing, and with one of the core aspects of the mission is really to bring connecting, right, like the traditional mainstream users to the crypto and blockchain space, and you need things like identity. That is really definitely one of the digital identity, right, to prevent things like Sybil attacks and stuff. This is one of the core tenets of bringing, I would say, like the mainstream users eventually into blockchain and allowing institutions to interact with projects on the blockchain.
Agreed. Getting that institutional buy-in will just immediately start pushing, if you will, the liquidity pools to come in and create a balance. And when you do it on an L2, like Everest chain, Everchain, all of a sudden it's not $20 or $50 to do a transaction and wait 2 hours, right? It'll be like, here's a transaction. It cost a penny to do the transaction. It took 5 seconds. And they've now deployed, if you will, from fiat over Everest into Kyber. Now they're in DeFi and they're actually earning, and it should be, should be pretty seamless.
Yeah, and another point on security as well. Just wanted to highlight that Kyber and Kyber and Everest will be working together to get the ID tokens easily accessible to all the users in the community. Kyber has successfully transacted over $3 billion worth of trades since our inception, and without any security issues. So I think this is, for both projects, Everest and Kyber, security is of utmost importance to us, and we really try to make sure that whatever products that we put out there, whatever services we provide to the community, we try to maintain a very high level of security.
Very good point. It's funny. I take security for granted now because we've been doing it for a couple of years. I mean, not as many transactions as you, but like we delivered the Ministry of Energies for Indonesia their subsidy to users who didn't even have. Users didn't even have a phone, right? They were literally walking around the village, and we had to do biometric verification, give them real tokenized money, make sure that only they got it, only they could redeem it, do it all the way back with BRI Bank because we were moving real money to them. And to your point, like you can't lose money along the way ever. So yeah, I think the joint solution between us makes the security even better. Would it be worthwhile? Let me show, if you will, all the Kyber users what we're doing together, because I think it shows how this can be seamless.
Yeah, please do. Actually, the next question is also like, I'd also like to add how Everest and Kyber are both working to solve the issues of mass adoption and the general issues of the Ethereum blockchain as a whole.
So users can go to Kyber normally, and Everest has some of the most cost-effective fiat on-ramp, the most cost-effective today, to actually go my checking account into Kyber. Similarly, they can come to Everest, fiat on board, and we plug into Kyber. Now, the first step is the user gets a wallet that's KYC'd because we're touching fiat, and they get an ID token, to get access to the network. And then we take our stable coin and convert $1 or €1 or what have you into something that can be digested by Kyber, right? And we've got local rails coming all over the world: US, Europe, Australia, Philippines, Colombia, Papua New Guinea, et cetera, right? We then take that, put it straight into Kyber, right? Staking, and and then right back into the user's wallet. Now, the next step, the future part of our relationship, is when we add actually some of the Kyber protocols or DeFi protocols and our bridge to mainnet. Then you've got the 5 seconds, fraction of a penny for a transaction, and you can do mass DeFi. This is the thing that I think takes us to hundreds of millions of users.
Wow, thanks for this very detailed explanation, Bob.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to add, Kyber Network as the protocol itself will be able to provide liquidity for ID tokens once launched. And as Bob shared in the slides earlier, Kyber Swap as one of the interfaces to Kyber Network can potentially provide Everest as one of the solutions for fiat to crypto on-ramp, so that users can easily access, can easily purchase crypto with their fiat money. And it's interesting how you talked about Everchain as well as a potential way for users to save gas, because that is a very pressing topic in recent times with the rise in Ether price and the congestion in the network. Kyber ourselves, we have been heavily researching L2 solutions, and Everchain is definitely an interesting option, alternative for us to look at when it comes to saving gas. And we'll love to work with you guys more on a deeper level to find out more as well.
Good. I mean, look, if you look at our solutions together, like there's some others in the market that do L2 rollups, optimism, or plasma variations, right? Which I think we all have to acknowledge at this point, given mainnet's congestion, like there has to be some scalability solution that's one of those three, right? Everest, if it were just the chain, we're very good L2. Like we're like Loopring in a way, right? But we also do KYC and fiat on-ramps. And so therefore, like all of a sudden it starts to become a bit more, it's not just about the chain. It's a full stack that can actually go like, how do we get to mass market together? Like you got to have the whole thing.
Would you say that Everest is catered more to the commercial aspects of like crypto and focused towards more like institutions, enterprises, since KYC and AML is involved?
We can do everything in the crypto world that others do, right? We can do Ethan, right? We can do any other crypto in and out. What we're finding is the world is actually like, including the crypto world, will be regulated. It simply will. And so like I can tell you, learning from my BitTorrent experience, you could do a protocol and not have to worry about regulations. You can do a dumb client, like just an interface piece, and you're not legally liable. Somewhere in the middle there, that will be regulated, right? Like, if not, full stop, people are going to jail, right? Or you're gonna have to go trade in deep Mongolia and they never wanna touch the real banking system again. And so somewhere in the middle there is somebody's hosting the APIs or they're processing an order, and it can't just be software, right? That's Everest. Anyone that thinks that they're going to do a protocol and do protocol fine, like you guys are fine forever. But if you're going to touch those APIs and actually process that order, you will be regulated, like full stop. We saw that, I mean, like the Americans are losing it right now, like their heads are exploding because of FinCEN. They're like a year behind the Europeans. The Europeans have already done this. Singapore, I know, is doing it, right? So it's like, it's all coming. And so I say we're focused on making it whatever it takes to get the mass market. How do we get a couple 100 million users? And I think the thing to solve is literally like play nice with the regulators. You do the bare minimum user identity shared in order to actually process a transaction. That's where we focus. Sorry, that was long-winded.
No. It was great. Yeah, I agree with what you said as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, here's how our focus actually brings lots of users into the Kyber space too, right? So we work right now with one of the biggest banks in Papua New Guinea, Kina, and they're doing cross-border for the entire nation of Papua New Guinea. And that'll run over our platform, right? Onboard, check the identity, pull the money in, process the transaction and send it out. And we're working with you, fiat to crypto. And we're working with a couple of others that are also doing financial services, right? And we've got a couple of traditional businesses that literally just want us to do payments for them. Now, each one of these, and by the way, we've got another dozen more customers that bring, like Kina's going to be bringing a couple 100,000 users, right? Some of these other guys have like sizable user bases. Underneath, each single one of these user bases can use the services of the other. And so all the Kina Bank users, everyone who's sending a remittance in Papua New Guinea, will have access to the Kyber network also, because we'll show it to them right in this interface where that swap is. That'll be a Kyber swap. So more users coming in to use more Kyber services.
Wow, that's amazing. It's good to know this. This is definitely like trying to bring in people who are not even into the crypto space yet, indirectly, right? Like helping them get exposed to cryptocurrencies and trading and Kyber as well.
Exactly. I mean, just to jump ahead a bit, since we're launching our token on Kyber, I'll show you a little bit about the ID token, right? And how literally the Kyber users are actually getting more ID tokens because they're buying it through Kyber, right? So we have the ID token. It's about 800 million, 800 million tokens total. It's for rewards, access, and governance, right? This has been running for about 2 years. So we know it works. It has a legal opinion. It's regulatory approved. And we also have staking that comes with this, right? So we're doing up to 40% APY and even 5% just for holding it in your wallet for a day. And then we have ecosystem development, right? So referrals, which would be anyone that buys the ID token over Kyber, gets a commission out of the ecosystem reserve fund, which is 100 million tokens. And since Kyber will be earning essentially like an agent, Kyber is going to be handing those extra ID tokens that they get in commissions down to the Kyber users. So bonuses for Kyber users.
Wow, thanks for this.
Thank you guys. You're passing it on to your users. I think it's super cool. And it's a way, like, again, we're making it a little bit better for everybody.
That's great. That's amazing. And for those of you who don't know and didn't see our earlier announcement, we are actually going to have a, the ID token will actually be accessible through Kyber Swap very soon. Maybe Watson, you can share more details later about our upcoming contest as well for ID trading.
Be having a learn and earn campaign and then trading contest very soon with the Everest team.
That's right.
Yes, so look forward to more of these activities with Everest.
Yeah.
Sharing those exciting news very soon.
Here's another interesting piece I think people are going to like about the ID token. So we're taking that 100 million pool, right? And that's just for the ecosystem development. Literally, all the services we're offering to users go from savings accounts, where we can earn like $15 per user on average. We're doing lending and borrowing. We're doing payments. We can earn about $20 per user per year. International, we're doing remittances. So we can do dollars to Bitcoin or XRP even, send to Philippines, convert back into PHP and push into somebody's bank account in under 5 minutes. And we do it for 2%. So way faster, way cheaper than Western Union. And it all runs really through crypto and Everest, right? We're also doing the fiat to crypto, where we can earn about 20, probably a lot more as we get more professional investors in there. Investments, so we're doing swapping and actual purchase of crypto or purchase of stocks. So we're looking at about $122 ARR per user per year. And we're offering a 20% commission for the agents and the tellers that bring the users on board. So that means, if there's an agent in the Philippines and they bring on 10,000 users and they get $50 average per user, they'll make 1 million tokens, right? This is a way, literally, this transforms the idea of like a bank into an agent-driven crypto credit union for the world, right? Like anybody that wants to be an agent, sign, scan their face, put in their docs, they can be an agent, and then they can go literally be a bank service agent to their community and offer savings, loans, payments, international stocks, all of it. You don't have to go into like Citibank or DBS. So that's what this is really trying for. So if you want a global credit union based on DeFi and users in small communities get to benefit off of that, that's what this is. That's what this is going to drive, the 100 million ecosystem development. So we're trying.
When you say agent, right? This agent, the E stands for ecosystem. Is that right? Or Everest agent?
I was electronic, but ecosystem works too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to get it right.
Yeah. So, we're seeing, for example, remittance companies have independent agents, like guys that sit there in the kiosk at the end of the road, right? Lucky Plaza, for example, right?
Now you really know Singapore well.
My home away from home. I can't wait for my vaccine, and then I'll come out and see you guys. Our biggest investors, Mistletoe, Taizo-san, and Atsushi from SoftBank. They're in Singapore, right? So, Lucky Plaza, you can have an agent. They don't have to be an agent for Western Union anymore. They can go, I have a phone, I'm an Everest agent, and I can do not only remittances, savings accounts, buy crypto, everything. all those services, all based off of DeFi. A lot of it's, Kyber.
That's kind of like you're really decentralizing the process a little bit. Yeah, like making it really easily accessible to more people without going through, just a centralized Western Union and Lucky Plaza in Singapore.
They've had a regulatory moat and barrier for 50 years, right? Longer. And so now when you can go regulated stablecoin that's doing KYC and you do digitization of the entire process, and then you literally don't, we are a company, but we decentralize, we move the identity to a DAO. It's not even everyone's like, well, what happens if Everest goes away or if you get bought by somebody big? And it's like, the identities are still safe. It's still the users, and it won't matter if we're here or not. So we tried to stay true to the decentralization.
I mean, thank you for explaining everything like that. It's very clear now that Everest is, really optimizing and helping the fast transition to a mass market DeFi space, I'd say.
That's the plan. Straight out of your checking account, 2 clicks, my paycheck. Go put $400 in here every month. It should be that way. Right?
Totally agree.
And look, last year we saw 25x in DeFi. This year we can see another 100x, right? And I think again, if we get back to solving the cost, speed, compliance, and reach, we can get there. And it's, and it's things we're doing together as a community, which I think is really exciting. So, all right. Do you guys have any other questions of me? Any questions you think I can answer about the token that might help people understand it better?
Well, actually, we do have some questions about the ID token, but I think Bob has already explained quite clearly about how the ID token functions, about the staking. And if Bob, do you have anything you'd like to add, then please do.
No, the thing that my co-founder and I realized recently is well over 50% of the tokens are going to the community, right? That's a big statement. It's 300+ million that are going into staking. It's 100 million that are going into ecosystem development. As we put it, we're not really building a company. This is to go build and make this incentivization plan so that the platform and the users actually get to own, when you buy a piece of ID token, you get to control a whole lot of this global credit union, right? Right. And it's also, again, I go into, we're talking about a global DeFi credit union as the go-to-market. But inherent in that is in the platform, you can do voting for the first time. Not blockchain crypto voting where you have to stake and it's an anonymous wallet. Real voting. It is me, biometrically verified voting, right? You can do insurance and it's truly interfaced with the legal system, right? You do all that stuff. And so that's actually where I think we're very different. So
maybe you can share a little bit more about, you mentioned a DAO, right, for the Everest that controls the project and the identities, right? Even if, so there wouldn't be a case where the Everest company gets, acquired and then people lose their, ability to access some of the services and stuff. So maybe you can share a bit more.
Sure. So again, we have 3 chains, right? We have, in transactions, we have the bridge to mainnet. we have our internal chain, and those are transactions, right? That's transactions, and it needs to be as decentralized and auditable and transparent as possible, right? That's what these ledgers are meant to accomplish. Permissionless as much as possible too. We have an identity chain too, and the identity chain, it's not about transactions, right? It really isn't. It's really mostly about key holding. That is, who has access to it? How much privacy do you have? And so the way we constructed the governance of key holding is we made it so that Everest itself doesn't hold the keys to actually open things up. And so we nominated some representatives from nonprofits like Asian Development Bank and MIT, some of these guys that are like, they're key holders. And by the way, they don't have enough authority in the governance system to open it either. And so we designed the governance so that literally it's almost impossible for anyone to actually get in. That is, we did make it so that if there's a catastrophic hack, then all key holders come together. Then you can go back and try to fix somebody, like if somebody loses their face or hands or things. But there is no entity that, or even colluding entities that could go in and go actually access it itself. The other piece, so like that's access. It also comes into software releases. How do you release software? Everest can't release software to hijack it all either. Has to be approved by the board and all the key holders. Yeah, and then we also made it self-sustaining. That is, it still has to be funded. And so some of the earnings from Everest by smart contract actually fund the storage and the running of the identity infrastructure.
Cool. Yeah, I guess like one of the key aims is to create a self-sustaining and a project that can exist many years into the future, and without even like the core team being around one day, Everest, the project itself, would be self-sustainable.
Right. I can tell you one of my advisors about 4 years ago when we were starting this, he's like, Bob, at some point, he's like, take this to a super scale. 1 billion users, and you're running 10% of global GDP. Somebody's going to show up with a 9mm gun or $5 billion, and you have to be in a position you can't actually do anything. He's like, design a system that does that. It's like, I can't help you any way you slice. I can't be bought, and even if you shoot me, like, it doesn't matter. Like, to your point, like, we're out. Like, we can't stop this.
Oh, that's a very extreme example, but it makes sense in a way. I hope that doesn't happen to you. No.
I hope so. Well, it's funny, like when we talk to like big governments or banks, when they go like, well, wait a second, where's the user data going and who owns it? It's like, well, the user owns it. We don't own it. And we can show you how. And that tends to make everybody feel better. And nobody wants to go, oh, I don't want the user to have their own data. Right? One of the things you're going to see from us very shortly is how do you share a little piece of your identity data over mainnet to somebody else? I want to prove to the regulators that I was KYC approved. They don't get to, and we do it as a zero knowledge proof. We go like, I can show you I got a full KYC check by a reputable firm, so it's a credential. And I will share that my little green check mark, yes, I'm KYC'd. No AML, no CFT, no PEP. Privately share it to one other wallet holder over mainnet. But they don't get to look at my address, my medical records, my Instagram, none of it. Like, it's just a zero knowledge proof. And I think that's, you can build an economy on that. You can build more than just in, out, and trading tokens.
I agree. I think being able to verify that this is a real user that has done KYC, but not actually, accessing the info, which is very confidential and sensitive and private. That's really useful. I think a lot of, Kyber is also in the DAO space. A lot of DAO projects, governance projects in the blockchain right now, they do face some challenges, and one of it being civil attacks, where people can actually create multiple accounts, spread the funds out and vote for certain decisions that like play on their interests and is biased towards them. But you can't really prevent that unless there's some form of digital identity involved.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very fundamental. Even Vitalik was talking about this about 2 years ago. He's like, you have to establish human and unique. So how do you do human and unique, yet do it in a way where it's not a centralized authority? It has to be in a DAO to do that. And so that was literally the crux of what Everest did. It was like, matter of fact, the whole company was called EverID when we started, but nobody understood us. So we did human and unique, put it into a DAO. And now to your point, like the way governance is happening in the blockchain now, I mean, I tease some of my DAO buddies, right? They're like, we're doing governance and we do staking. And it was like, staking isn't the same as voting. The day you have like $1 million to distribute, I know people that will take all of your money because they'll have 1,000 wallet addresses. And so this is what Everest solves. Go like, that wallet address is like a Twitter blue check mark. It's Bob, it's verified. He's human, it's unique, there's only one of them. And it's a way to do real voting and actually make the community more, turn it into a complex economy, not just in-out trade stuff.
Twitter with a check mark that is controlled by the DAO, like in a way.
Yeah. So like, look, if you want to like, I want to do a vote, right? We're going to give out 100,000 tokens of whatever it is, and you want to make it real. Only the people that have been verified, that is verified as human and unique, can vote. Just start with that. And until you have that, like, it's the same thing as the unbanked, by the way, like the unbanked in, lots of the frontier markets, no identity, can't prove who they are. They can't go more than 100 miles because it's all based on reputation. And so the economies are less complex, right? But if you give users biometric, verifiable human, they control it, they can verify that, you can start having complex economies. So.
Cool. Yeah. So before we go on to the next part, first of all, Bob, do you have anything else to add about Everest?
No, I don't think so. Not right now.
Okay. I'd just like to share a little bit more on how Kyber and Everest can work together moving forward. So as Bob shared earlier, thanks to Everest, KNC users are able to earn more through staking the ID tokens, and we are going to have also on Kyber Swap, our UI, our in-house product built on top of our Kyber Network protocol. We're going to give access to ID tokens very soon to to our community, and we might have a learn and earn, and as well as a trading contest coming up around the ID tokens. So a lot of interesting activities. And apart from that, in a few, we are going to actually launch an upgrade to Kyber called Kyber 3.0. We just announced that recently, and there will be what we call a dynamic market maker pool, where anybody can actually contribute liquidity for ID tokens later on. And not only are you able to access ID tokens through Kyber, you're also able to contribute liquidity and earn fees as a liquidity provider for ID tokens in the future, very soon, in a few months' time. So I think there are a lot of exciting activities coming up between Kyber and Everest, and I hope all of you in the community will join us in there. So Watson, I think you have some questions as well, right, for the community?
Yes, we do. So now we move on. Two questions that we'd like to ask the community, and you guys can answer those questions on Twitter. We'll be posting and sharing this AMA afterwards on Twitter. So, and then we'll pick up some lucky winners to get amazing prizes. So let's go through those questions. The first questions that we'd like to ask the community is, what makes a good crypto DApp? What do you think are the main things that the apps are going to need to build to have a steady growth in the ever-changing market of DeFi? And the second question is, which crypto?
Before we go on to the second question, Bob, I have a question for you regarding this first question. Like for Everest, what are some of the products your users can expect? Not just maybe a dApp, but maybe like for example, like a digital ID wallet, for example. Yeah, maybe you can share some of your products.
So I'll go back to, it's a real wallet, right? It's got to have all your accounts, it has to have your identity, it has to have your insurance, it has to have all of it. And so for us, it's, I'd say UX for us has to be like, it has to be better, I think, across the industry, right? It has to be as good as the Bank of America or DBS apps, right? I do. So UX is one thing, and I think we all need to go be a little bit better at this. I'll give you a sense. Like, I was going to go try to put $50 into some DeFi, a little experiment the other day. First of all, I had to go convert it twice from ETH into one other thing, and then another thing into another thing. And then it was going to cost me $20 in gas fees to get there. And it was all going in and out of different, and connecting my wallet. It was a nightmare, right? So UX, you got to solve. The second piece is, and this is where Everest, I think, does a very good job, is you have to have multiple services, right? It's got to be, I want to see my fiat balance. I want to move it into different fiat currencies, Sing dollars, US dollars, euros, Aussie dollars, you name it. I want to be able to convert into crypto. I want to swap crypto. I want to trade in crypto. I want to actually buy stocks. I want to be able to send around the world, right? As I put it, like, if you saw Netflix as a good metaphor, users want what users want. And if you build something where it's like, here's all the content on demand, you can binge watch it, you can actually consume it however you want, it's about you, it's all your stuff. Well, you can change the entire industry. And so that's really, like, we look at that and just go like, I want everything given to the user. Everything. Send, trade, share, all of it in one spot, and their identity. Do that and figure out the UX, then I think we're there. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I think apart from UX, like you so detailedly explained, security is definitely important. I mentioned that earlier. So I would say, crypto apps in general, when it first started out back in like 2016 and when it starts getting popular, the initial batch of crypto apps really catered to the cypherpunks, the people who are already in the space, who are very familiar with how to use all the crypto services, and definitely not catered to the mass market. This is very, very different from all the different trading apps that I'm used to, before I got into crypto. But, over the years, it's starting to get better. Not perfect, of course, but I think it's improving, and very soon, with more projects, like Everest really putting UX and UI at the forefront, right, of the user experience and interaction with the blockchain. I think over time we will see people, things will get much more intuitive for the users when they interact with the blockchain. So for Kyber, we have our own in-house product called Kyber Swap, and we also try to educate users and make sure the UI UX is very convenient for people to purchase, like ID tokens, for example.
Kyber Swap's brain dead simple. We love that one. Like, you're right. It's one of those, you don't have to, like, I think you guys did that beautifully well. It's 2 clicks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I look forward to also using the Everest products once you guys are launched and live.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we've done a lot that has already been live and used. This latest integration, literally integrating Kyber Swap into it, should be ready in the next couple of weeks.
Nice. So. Okay, Watson.
Your opinion on the first question. We're still waiting for the community to answer the first question as well. So let me just repeat that question. Basically, it's...
Actually, they can also answer it later. They don't need to answer it right away.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah, you can move on, and we can collect the questions at a later time as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Let me just, repeat the questions so that the community...
Collect the answers at a later time as well. Yeah.
Community can write down the answers afterwards. So the first question is, what makes a good crypto DApp? And the second question is, which crypto media and influencers do you follow and why?
Go ahead, Shane, if you want.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually more questions for the community to tell us, so that, yeah, we are just interested to find out, like, where they get their sources of information from for crypto, and who are the key opinion leaders in the space that they like to follow, they really enjoy listening to for advice. And I think these are also the people that we want to work with in the future, so that we can help spread the word about Everest and about Kyber and the services that we offer. So it will be interesting to hear from the community's perspective, who are these different projects and influences. Personally, for me, since 2017, when I first got in early 2017, I do watch a lot of YouTubers that talk about crypto. I read a lot of articles from Vitalik. I think he's a very good writer, actually. So, I mean, sometimes people's perception of Vitalik is somebody who is more like a coder or developer, but he writes really beautifully as well, and it's very interesting concepts that it can apply beyond just the crypto space. And I think I don't play chess myself, but recently he actually participated in this chess match with this chess Twitch streamer after the whole popularity of Queen's Gambit on Netflix. So it's interesting to see read like some of his articles that talk about other things besides crypto, and interesting to see how things he does outside crypto as well. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, look, I rarely talk to him. When I did, I didn't talk too much about blockchain, because literally, like, you end up like down the rabbit hole of like why an EVM requires an 8-bit thing with this level of security, and you're like, whoa, like a level of technical sophistication that probably only 10 people in the world can keep up with. And so I ended up discussing mostly with him like global politics. And to your point, he's thoughtful. he cares. He's actually analyzed. He can write about it and express it. Like, so I do like, I do stay up to speed on what he's thinking. There's a couple others. I can tell you, I'm not paying too much attention to the traders. They're going, you know, and not too much with, yeah, I would say I'm more focused on the, I would call the futurists, the guys that are looking at like, here's a little nugget that we know in the next 10 years, it will worm its way through and know that we will have security tokens, right? And a security token exchange. Like these things will happen. Here are the steps it's going to take to get there. Like those are the guys I follow. You're like, you know, Balaji Srinivasan comes to mind.
I usually follow the news on some news anchors and those in crypto for a long time that shares their opinion on YouTube and Twitter as well. I'm not as, I'm very new in crypto. I joined this space in 2019. So most of the things that I got to know from the start was from people explaining it in YouTube in simple terms, which I think is a very good beginning for new users to get into the crypto space. But then again, for a more detailed part, I usually follow Vitalik, usually follow the founders and founders of the top DeFi applications in the space as well, because they are the ones who are now defining the market as a whole, and they have a lot to share. And yeah, so that's I get my information from nowadays.
Yeah, I wanted to give a short shout out as well to Nuggets News. They are a crypto YouTuber. Alex is the founder of it, and they're based in Australia. So we worked with them before. They're always focused on educating users on the new DeFi products that come out. And yeah, maybe in the future, Bob, you can work with them as well. And
Absolutely.
Previously, we have also worked with Data Dash. Nicholas Merton. I think he was once in fact, he still might be the biggest YouTube channel out there for crypto. And he started this digital wallet called DigiFox, which integrated Kyber actually for their liquidity needs as well. So yeah, these two are very prominent YouTubers that we've worked with before that people in the community might be interested in finding out more about that.
Mm-hmm. Nuggets guy sounds interesting to me. I mean, go ahead, Watson.
Oh no, I'm just saying that I'm certainly interested. So thank you, Shane, for sharing that.
Yeah, I was going to say we have an Australian subsidiary, and I get to go to Australia often now because we can take deposits there, right? And I really like the market. I like the people. So like, yeah, I'd love to talk to the Nuggets guy at some point because they're going to love us. They're going to be able to they're going to be able to touch it in their hand. So.
Yeah, I can't wait for this whole COVID, travel restriction to be over and things get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly do hope so.